Good morning, doctors. Welcome again. Today we are going to discuss about MCQs for pharmacology. This is part second for PLAB, for USMLE, and for MRCP examinations. A 71-year-old woman is unable to take residronate therapy due to problem with severe esophagitis. Instead, she is prescribed 6 monthly denosumab subcutaneous injection. When is the nadir of carboxy-terminal collagen cross-links reduction reached in the response of denosumab therapy? So, the best answer here is 3 days, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 2 months, 4 months. So the best answer here is 3 days. Okay. Now, a 74-year-old woman treated with strontium ranelate therapy for her osteoporosis. As she is unable to tolerate bisphosphonate therapy, she is concerned about the side effect of profile and asks you a number of questions about this. Which of the following represents a commonly reported adverse event associated with bisphosphonate therapy? So, bisphosphonate therapy responsible for this is for diarrhea. Okay, so hope now it's clear. A 57-year-old woman with a BMI of 29 attends a clinic for a review of hypertension. Her medication includes Ramipril 10 mg OD and Amlodipine 5 mg OD. Her blood pressure remains elevated at 155/90 and she was started on bendroflumethiazide 2.5 mg OD. Which of the following should be warned her is a recognized adverse effect of thiazide therapy? Thiazide therapy causes hypercalcemia, not hypocalcemia, hypermagnesemia, not hypomagnesemia, and hyperuricemia, not hypouricemia. And it does not cause hyperkalemia, it causes hypokalemia. But hyperglycemia is a cause, so E is an answer. Okay. 3 days. Denosumab is a IgG monoclonal antibody and a rank ligand inhibitor. Rank ligand is responsible for driving pre-osteoclast to osteoclast maturation and upregulation osteoclast activity. Inhibiting this therefore leads to an 85% fall in carboxy terminal collagen. Okay. Diarrhea. Strontium ranelate substitutes calcium ions in a bond and is associated with a measured increase up to 15%. Okay. Hyperglycemia we discussed. Now, 67-year-old woman with an history of hypertension treated with Ramipril, complaints of chronic dry cough. Her medication was changed to valsartan, which resolved her symptoms. Which of the following is the most likely to be reduced following this change in medication? So, the best answer here is bradykinin. Okay. 64-year-old man has end-stage COPD. Is FEV1 over FVC is less than 50% predicted. He has recently stopped smoking. On examination, his blood pressure 155/92, pulse 70, atrial fibrillation. There are a coarse crackles consist with COPD and auscultation. Coarse crackle consists with COPD and auscultation of chest. Which of the following medication most likely to reduce his exacerbation frequency? So the medication here best is high dose inhaled corticosteroids and long acting beta 2 agonist therapy. Okay. Where is the kidney is acetazolamide thought to act? Where in the kidney? Acetazolamide acts through the proximal convoluted tubules, PCT. Okay. 73-year-old woman discharged from hospital after a left total hip replacement, taking rivaroxaban for venous thromboembolism prophylaxis. Which clotting factor is inhibited by rivaroxaban? That is factor 10A. Factor 10A is inhibited. Okay. Yeah, you can read this by your own. "59-year-old man reviewed in clinic 6 weeks after an inferior myocardial infarction. During his admission, his total cholesterol was found to be elevated 6.7 millimoles per liter, and he was started on atorvastatin 20 mg. Note: unfortunately, he suffered multiple muscle ache and his creatinine kinase raised to 421. The statin was discontinued and he was started on ezetimibe. What is the best description of mode of action of ezetimibe? So, the best mode of action is NPC1L1. This is Niemann-Pick C1L1 inhibitor. Okay. 41-year-old man comes to the clinic for review of his asthma. He is currently managed with fluticasone 100 microgram BD, but still has problem with cough and night. And when he tries to exercise on examination in the clinic, there is only scattered wheeze, but his peak flow is reduced at 410. You decided to add salmeterol to his regimen. Which of the following correctly describe the mode of action of salmeterol? So the mode of action of salmeterol is beta 2 partial agonist, or we can say this is a long acting bronchodilator. Okay. Now, 47-year-old man who has undergone a renal transplant presents to the clinic with symptoms of thirst, polyuria, and gradual weight gain. A random blood sugar reveals a glucose of 9.2 millimoles per liter, and you diagnose him with diabetes mellitus. Which of the following immunosuppressive agent is most likely to have been responsible? So, for diabetes, the immunosuppressive responsible is tacrolimus. That is tacrolimus. Okay, you can pause this video, read explanation. Okay, now 65-year-old man reviewed in clinic because of resistant hypertension. His past medical history includes type 2 diabetes and microalbuminuria. He has been intolerant of multiple antihypertensive medication, and his blood pressure in clinic remains 164 by 92 mmHg. You are considering starting aliskiren. What is the best description of its mode of action? Aliskiren is a renin antagonist. Okay, renin antagonist. Okay. You are examining a member of family that suffers from congenital hypoparathyroidism. You suspect they may carry a mutation of the parathyroid hormone receptor. Which of the following correctly describe the parathyroid hormone receptor? So the best answer here is G protein coupled receptor. Okay. You are reviewing the result of a new agent for the treatment of epilepsy, but you are concerned that in the 1 year pivotal phase 3 studies, 4% of patients suffered from significant rise in blood pressure for the new treatment versus second 2% on the leading existing therapy. Which of the following is the number needed to harm the new therapy with respect to hypertension? That is 50. Okay, 50. You can solve by here and okay. One of your patients who is taking a part in diabetes trial comes to the emergency room having suffered a myocardial infarction. He is 56-year-old, treated with metformin and sulfonylurea, and his average HbA1c over the past year has been 8.5%. You are debating how the event should be reported. How should this event be classified? So, remember guys, adverse event reported within 7 days to the study sponsor. Expected event, no need to report to the sponsor. Serious adverse event should be reported immediately to the sponsor. So this is the best answer, C1. Okay. 45-year-old car mechanic is admitted having taken an overdose of ethylene glycol and is in an intoxicated state. When you review him in the emergency department, you elect to treat him with an infusion of fomepizole. Which of the following is the mode of action of fomepizole? Fomepizole is a non-competitive antagonist of alcohol dehydrogenase. Okay. Now, a man with COPD who is taking long-term theophylline and combination of long-acting bronchodilator or LABE and steroid inhaler presents to the emergency department with respiratory tract infection. He is pyroxyle 38.2 degrees Celsius and has a cough productive to purulent sputum. Which of the following antibiotic is likely to least appropriate for him? So the least appropriate antibiotic is ciprofloxacin. Let's discuss. Yeah. So one answer I put mark wrong. That is competitive antagonist of alcohol dehydrogenase. Yeah, not. Now, let's discuss more. When thinking about drug metabolism in the liver, which of the following enzyme processes is classified as a phase 1 reaction? Phase 1 reaction by oxidation. Okay. 34-year-old woman was admitted for investigation of dyspnea. She was found to have pulmonary hypertension. Which of the following findings would be an indication for busulfan therapy? Pulmonary arterial hypertension secondary to scleroderma with significant interstitial lung disease, functional class 2 PAH without significant interstitial lung disease, functional class 3 PAH without significant interstitial lung disease, functional class 3 PAH where prostaglandin receptor agonist has failed to control symptoms, functional class 3 PAH where phosphodiesterase 5 inhibitor has failed to control symptoms. So the answer here is functional class 3 PAH where prostaglandin receptor agonist has failed to control symptoms. Okay. 19-year-old woman presents to the emergency department with trismus and torticollis. She looks in absolutely agony. Apparently has been prescribed an antiemetic by the GP for persistent vomiting after an episode of food poisoning. Which of the following antiemetic is most likely cause? So, this is an caused by metoclopramide. Okay. 51-year-old man was received in the cardiovascular risk clinic. It was decided to add fenofibrate to his treatment regimen. What is the best description of mode of the action? Fenofibrate. That is by lipoprotein lipase activator. Okay. Let's discuss. "47-year-old man presents to the dermatology outpatient clinic complaining of a rash. On examination, he has well demarcated erythematous plaques with associated silver scaling affecting the flexor surface of both elbows and knees. A diagnosis of psoriasis is made. His regular medications are listed below. Which one of these following medication can worsen psoriasis? The psoriasis is worsened by atenolol. Okay. 41-year-old man who has undergone a renal transplant come to see his GP with a respiratory tract infection and request antibiotics. His current medication for immunosuppression includes cyclosporine. Which of the following antibiotic is most likely to cause significant change in cyclosporine levels? That is clarithromycin. By clarithromycin. Okay. 72-year-old man was admitted to hospital with increasing exertional breathlessness. His past medical history includes anterior myocardial infarction and heart failure with a left ventricular ejection fraction 10 to 15%, so less. During his admission, his medication was optimized, which improved his breathlessness, but he complained that he seems to have developed breast in recent months. Which of the following medication most likely to be responsible for development of gynecomastia? So, the gynecomastia development is by Ramipril, or remember DISCO, DISCO. D for digoxin, I for isoniazid, S for spironolactone, C for cimetidine, O for estrogen, and X inhibitors. Remember, okay. You are responsible for drawing up protocols for the management of venous thromboembolism prophylaxis in your hospital. You are aware that rivaroxaban has recently become available. Which of the following correctly describes the mode of action of rivaroxaban? So the mode of action for rivaroxaban is factor 10A inhibitor. This is factor 10A inhibitor. You decide to start a 54-year-old man who has metastatic colonic carcinoma on a regimen that incorporates capecitabine. Which of the following correctly describe the mode of action of capecitabine? So, capecitabine, it is converted to pyrimidine analog. Okay. You are examining a submission for reimbursement written about a new oral blood glucose lowering agent that has been submitted to the Scottish Medicine Consortium. Which of the following type of study is likely to provide the most valuable evidence with respect to determining whether the drug should be reimbursed? That is phase 3. So it is due to phase 3. Okay. You are planning to prescribe a partial opiate agonist for the treatment of opiate withdrawal in one of your patients. Which of the following is a partial opiate agonist? That is diamorphine. Okay. Buprenorphine, not diamorphine. That is. Sorry, guys. The best answer here is buprenorphine. Okay. Bioavailability is measure of the fraction of an orally administered agent that reaches the plasma. It is related to how polar the administered agent is and its molecular size. Which of the following agent is known to have poorest bioavailability? That is, Residronate has poorest bioavailability. 48-year-old man undergoing treatment for tuberculosis with triple combination therapy, which includes isoniazid. Unfortunately, he has begun to develop signs of hepatitis and sideroblastic anemia. And you wondered if he may be predisposed to isoniazid side effects. Which of the following is most likely to be associated with isoniazid toxicity? That is, slow acetylation. Okay. 72-year-old man who is taking warfarin for chronic atrial fibrillation presents to the emergency department with easy bruising and bleeding from his gums. Other medications of note include gliclazide and metformin for type 2 diabetes, and ramipril and indapamide for hypertension. On examination, his blood pressure is 122/82. His pulse 73, atrial fibrillation. He has extensive bruising to his forearms. He has INR 7.1. On further questioning, he tells you that he has been following a juicing diet that he read about on internet. Which of the following fruit juices is likely to have caused this raised INR? That is, cranberry juice. Okay. Let's discuss. 51-year-old man started on metoprolol 50 mg BD prophylaxis against episodes of paroxysmal atrial fibrillation. Unfortunately, he returns to emergency room only the following day, having taken 2 doses of medication. Because he has measured his pulse rate at 38 and he feels lightened and dizzy, his blood pressure only 105/60. Which of the following CP450 enzyme is he likely carrying polymorphism for? It is by CP2D6, CYP2D6. Okay. 42-year-old man who has undergone a renal transplant some 4 years previously comes to the emergency room complaining of sore throat and a fever. Full blood count reveals a marked neutropenia. Apparently, he takes azathioprine as a part of his immunosuppressive regimen and has recently visited the emergency GP service complaining of acute gout. Which of the following medication is most likely to have precipitated his acute neutropenia? So, the acute neutropenia is precipitated by allopurinol. Okay. 19-year-old student presents with a 4-day history of sore throat, headache, fever, and myalgia. He is commenced on oral amoxicillin by his general practitioner 1 hour later. He presents to emergency department with his widespread maculopapular rash. His breathing is labored with an audible wheeze. Blood pressure 90/40, heart rate 105, respiratory rate 32, SpO2 96% on air. What should be the next management step? So the next management step is give high flow oxygen and 0.5 ml 1:1000 adrenaline IM. Okay, this is the answer. Yeah. Okay. 70-year-old white man with ANSA associated vasculitis. Previously treated with multiple courses of cyclophosphamide, currently in a drug-free remission. Has persistent microscopic hematuria on 3 consecutive occasions a month apart. There is no pain or proteinuria and renal ultrasound normal. His blood test shows inflammatory markers and urea electrolytes and creatinine have been stable for the last 2 years. What is the next step in the management? So next step of the management is cystoscopy. Okay. 56-year-old woman reviewed for hypertension. Her medication includes bendroflumethiazide 2.5 mg OD. On examination, her blood pressure 136/76 mmHg. Biochemistry sodium 138, potassium 3.1, creatinine 81. What is the most likely cause of hypokalemia? Hypokalemia, it is caused by bendroflumethiazide, which is act on distal segment of distal tubules. Okay. Increased sodium, no. There is increased potassium, bendroflumethiazide. Let's see. Distal segment of distal tubules increase. This one is answer. Okay. 69-year-old man was anticoagulated with warfarin following a pulmonary embolus. His INR has previously been very stable. However, on this occasion it was 4.3 and he reports taking CoQ enzyme antibiotic for his stomach infection and started that he has been couple of days previously to celebrate his birthday. Which of the following would be the safest to continue in the light of our INR increase? That is coenzyme Q10 supplement. A 26-year-old woman presents with syncope. She reports a 3-month history of increasing shortness of breath since the birth of her first child. Investigation: echocardiography normal, left and right ventricular functions. Pulmonary hypertension with a pulmonary artery pressure calculated 70 mmHg. It is elected to start her on busulfan. What is the best description of the mode of action? That is endothelin A and B receptor antagonist. Okay. Now, 68-year-old man admitted following a suspected significant overdose of propranolol, which he has been prescribed for agitation. He reports lethargy and lightheadedness. On examination, he is alert, oriented, regular pulse 44 beats per minute, and blood pressure 140/88. What is the most appropriate initial management here? Overdose of propranolol, so we have to give glucagon here. Beta blocker overdoses, glucagon is a antidote. Okay. 63-year-old man was reviewed in the outpatient clinic. He had permanent atrial fibrillation and was taking digoxin 125 micrograms OD, which he tolerated well. Unfortunately, he had been intolerant of multiple other medications to control his ventricular rate, which remained 110, more than 110 beats per minute. You have decided to add a further medication to his regimen but want to avoid increasing his plasma digoxin concentration. Which drug is least likely to increase plasma concentration of digoxin? That is atenolol. Okay. Now, 69-year-old woman with long-standing COPD comes to emergency department with severe nausea and vomiting. She takes a Seretide inhaler, tiotropium and theophylline tablets, and tells you she was prescribed an antibiotic by the on-call GP 2 nights earlier. Examination: BP 145/72, pulse 95, her respiratory rate 20, bilateral scattered V's. Which of the following antibiotics is most likely to have contributed to the presentation? That is ciprofloxacin. Okay. 28-year-old man admitted with tachycardia and severe agitation. He reports going to a nightclub and taking 3 lines of cocaine. On examination, he has regular pulse 140 beats per minute and blood pressure 155/90. His chest was clear to auscultation. Investigation: ECG, narrow complex tachycardia at 140 beats per minute. What is best treatment for his arrhythmia? So we have to give here Verapamil calcium channel blocker. Why? Because cocaine is a vasoconstrictor. That's why bisoprolol are contraindicated. 27-year-old woman admitted to emergency department with acute severe asthma. Her peak flow on admission to the unit is 150. She usually takes BD Seretide, BP 125/25, and Montelukast. Has had 2 previous admission to the ITU. You give her continuous salbutamol nebulizers and ipratropium nebulizer and IV hydrocortisone, but 30 minutes later her peak flow has improved to 210. Which of the following is the next appropriate intervention? So the next appropriate intervention is intravenous magnesium sulfate. Yeah. A 62-year-old man admitted with symptoms of phenytoin toxicity, including diplopia, nystagmus, ataxia. He takes the phenytoin for tonic-clonic seizures and has done for many years. He has suffered a severe diarrheal illness over the past few days. Routine bloods are taken: hemoglobin 13.1, white cells 10.1, platelet 207, sodium 139, potassium 5.4, creatinine 237, phenytoin 17. Why does he have symptoms of phenytoin toxicity? He has symptoms because increased phenytoin protein binding. It is due to decreased phenytoin protein binding. That's why. Okay. 46-year-old woman who has a history of anxiety and depression brought to the emergency department, having been found unconscious by her neighbor with an empty bottle of diazepam 5 mg tablets. Examination: you cannot wake her up. BP 100/60, pulse 78, respiratory rate 8, pupils are dilated. How would you manage her? You have to manage her by intubation and ventilation. Okay. 42-year-old man with anxiety has been taking fluoxetine for many years. He is now stable job and feels he should like to stop the medication. He has heard about SSRI withdrawal through the internet. Which of the following is true of SSRI withdrawal? Symptoms invariably only last for few days. Feeling of depersonalization are seen. So the feeling of depersonalization are seen. Yeah. 62-year-old woman admitted with unconscious by ambulance after being found by her son. She has long-term problem with anxiety and takes regular diazepam from her GP. Her son returned home from an evening out to find an empty bottle of wine and 2 empty bottles of diazepam 5 mg tablets. On examination, BP 85/50, pulse 82 and her pupils are dilated. She is unconscious and there is vomit around the corner of her mouth. Which of the following most appropriate treatment for her? Treatment for her is intubation ventilation. Yeah. 63-year-old patient with active rheumatoid arthritis comes to the clinic for review. You wish to start her on non-steroidal anti-inflammatory agent, but she has a past history of indigestion. When reviewed, the relative risk of GI adverse events associated with their use, which of the following non-steroidal has highest risk? So the highest risk is what? Ketoprofen. Okay. 71-year-old admitted to the ITU with Enterobacter septicemia. You elect to treat her with imipenem as a part of her antibiotic regimen. Which of the following true of imipenem? It does not normally penetrate inflamed meninges. It has high oral bioavailability. Dose modification is not required in renal failure. It binds to penicillin binding protein. So it binds to penicillin binding proteins. Okay. 22-year-old student presents to the university healthy service complaining of watery grey offensive smelling vaginal discharge that she says has a fishy odor. She has had one sexual partner over the past 6 months and tells you that they have used condoms. On examination, the vulval skin looks normal, but you confirm a thin grey white discharge which emits a strong fishy smell on mixing with potassium hydroxide. Which of the following most appropriate treatment? So the best treatment here is metronidazole. Okay. 56-year-old man suffers persistent nausea after receiving IV diamorphine for chest pain related to an anterior myocardial infarction. You elect to prescribe cyclizine for his nausea. Which of the following correctly describe the mode of action of cyclizine? That is H1 receptor antagonism. H1 receptor antagonism. Okay. Which of the following drug used to treat infection with Mycobacterium tuberculosis is least likely to be associated with hepatotoxicity? Least hepatotoxic is ethambutol and another one drug is streptomycin. So guys, I hope till here it's very much clear for you. If you have any queries, any question, you can ask me. If you're new on my channel, please subscribe it. And if you like this video, put like on it. Thank you. Good day. Goodbye. That's all for today.